Hey everybody. So as promised, I'm going to give you some videos covering the cost leadership strategy. So what I do want you to keep in mind is that these videos are going to try to enhance the principles that we talked about in class in chapter 4 about the cost leadership strategy. I'm going to very quickly read these to you. First, build efficient scale facilities. Second, tightly control production costs and overhead. Third, minimize cost of sales, research and development, and service. Fourth, build efficient manufacturing facilities. Fifth, monitoring cost of activities provided by outsiders. And last, simplifying the production processes. So I'm going to implement that cost leadership strategy, making those decisions only on the action capture camera and only concerned with marketing that action capture camera. So keep in mind, this has to do with the 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. And it's going to help us to make better decisions. So as we start out, I would like to point out to you that we are expected to have $26 million in net profit. So I've highlighted that number there on the screen so that you can see it, 26 million in net profit. And as we start, it's projected that our PQ rating is going to be 4 stars and our production cost per unit will be $154.73. So taking those actions and putting them into play, tightly controlling production cost. I'm going to start with that. So that suggests to me that we might be able to alter the inputs of our camera and make it more cost effectively. So I'm going to look at this, and this has to do with some trade-offs that we're making. We're lowering some of the inputs into our camera in an effort to get our costs lower. I've cut those inputs, and you see our cost is not going down a whole lot. One of the problems is our demand is going down because now we've only got 701,700 projected. Demand's going down because our PQ rating is going down and because we have not increased our marketing. So I want to bring that PQ rating back up, try to get it back up to 4 stars. I want to take a look at what the costs are when we do that. So I've changed the inputs such that we can lower our cost, but we're at 3.6 stars right now, cost at $150.56. The last bullet says to simplify our production process. And the easiest way that I know of to simplify our production process is to reduce the number of models that we make. If we eliminate the number of changeovers we have to do, that should help us to make better quality product. So I reduced the number of models from 3 to 2. That brings us up to 3.8 stars. Maybe I need to put a little bit of inputs back into it. I do $12 there and $11 there. I've got the product back up to 4 stars and my costs are $150.15. So I'd reduce the cost effectively by about $4 per camera. My net profit is up to $27.28 million, $27,280,000. Okay. One of the bullet points says minimize cost of sales, research and development. So minimizing research and development, this is kind of that executive judgment decision. You have to make the decision on whether research and development is worth it for your company going forward. Some people might say minimizing it means that I go all the way to 0. And if I do that, it affects my performance quality rating. For some, minimizing it might say that I go to 6 million or to 12 million or to 16 million. I'm just lowering my cost. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this incrementally and take the research and development down to $6 million. That keeps me with a 4-star product. My costs are down about $20 per unit, $134.78 per unit. They were $154. So let's see if we can increase the number of products that we're going to sell. Our first point said build efficient scale facilities, but what it's really talking about is economies of scale. And what that really means is I need to increase my marketing so that I can increase my sales. Right now, my expected market share is at 9.5% for all 4 of the geographic markets: North America, Europe, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. So with costs of $134, my operating profit falls out to about 57 in North America and a low of about 47, 48 bucks in Latin America. Okay. My selling price is $225 each, but there are some promotional discounts that get calculated in for us. And those promo discounts cost us 43 cents per unit. Those promo discounts are sales promotions. If you'll read your Globus Participants Guide, it'll tell you that sales promotions are ineffective unless you get to at least a 15% weekly discount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my sales promotions to 2 weeks and 15% in an effort to sell more product. As I do that, you see that demand increases a little bit. Okay. My advertising budget is where I can really implement some changes. And I'm going to do this very just rationally, just logically. Y'all bear with me. This is going to take a little bit of calculation here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the number of multi-store chains, the number of online retailers, and the number of local retail shops that I have for my company in each of my 4 geographic markets. And I'm going to allocate $1,000 for every retailer that I have, whether it's a multi-store chain, a local retailer, or a local retail shop. So for my advertising budget, I'm going to go to $3,108,000 in North America. Okay, that's my advertising budget. I simply added 36, 72, and 3,000. That's a big increase in my advertising budget. And when I do that, I get a nice, healthy increase in my market share as well. So in Europe, Africa, I'm going to take 30 plus 60 plus 2,500. That's 2,590. Okay, so I'm putting in effectively the same thing here, but what you need to know is your advertising budget is in thousands of dollars. So when it says I've got 2,590 stores, when I put 2,590 there, that means I'm putting 2,590,000. In Asia Pacific, I'm going to put 2,072,000. In Latin America, I'm going to put 1,054,000. Okay. I'm also going to increase my website and display information. And I'm just going to do this very logically. I'm going to put the same amount in the website displays that I'm putting into my advertising budget. Okay. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to increase demand for my product. And as you see, as I've done those things, I've really increased demand across my 4 areas. The last thing I want to do is I want to increase my projected support expenditures per budget, budgeted per unit sold. You have to go to your comparative competitive efforts, but what that will show you is last year, every company was spending $6 in retailer support for their product. So I'm going to increase my spending until I get that back up to about $6 per unit. Now, this is not going to be absolute. It's not an exact science. These are simply estimates when I put money into that. But as I put money into retailer support, you can see that it changes the number of units that I'm selling. Okay. So what I've done is without changing the price, I have gone in and I've changed the product. I'm making it more cheaply now. I've increased demand, and increasing that demand helps me to get my costs down even lower, because remember, every unit that I sell reduces my overhead per unit. Okay. So I've changed the way that I promote the product, and I have not changed the place. I've not changed the locations in which I'm marketing my product, because I've got established demand in all 4 of my geographic markets. 322,700 in North America, almost 300,000 in Europe, Africa, almost 250,000 in Asia Pacific, and more than 150,000 in Latin America. Okay. So I'm going to stop this video right here, because what I've dealt with is product. I've changed my product. I haven't dealt with price. I haven't dealt with place, but I've dealt with promotion. Okay. So I'm going to record the next video and talk about compensation and facilities. Okay. So I'm going to stop right here.